Hello, this is a DeFacto brief review of last week, what happened in this country, in Mongolia. It will include COVID-19 fight and economic and political, some events happened last week in the country. By today we have 1,890 cases of infections, out of which 1,380 are domestically lost or domestic infection, which is 300 more for last 2 weeks. But we have recovered almost 1,400 people. 600 people are recovered for last 2 weeks, which is good news. But all these cases are only in Ulaanbaatar. 1,054 cases, infections in Ulaanbaatar. And by today, 1 million almost people have tested with PCR. But however, for 7 days, average 28 persons a day infected. And today we have 20% of this virus's infection, unlike 2 weeks ago. So there are more cases, more and more cases, and almost all first contact contagions. That's why new state emergency commission, which is headed by new deputy prime minister and ex-mayor of Ulaanbaatar, Amar Khan. So this commission made yesterday another announcement, considering all the situation of increasing COVID cases, infection in Ulaanbaatar city, mostly, or only. They have decided to put back the country into red alert from February 11 for 12 days till February 23. Why? Because the Lunar New Year is celebrated from 11th February. And there are many visits supposed to be each other, in particular to elderly relatives. In order to avoid furthermore contagion, the new commission had decided to have the red alert back, and looks like they have changed their approach. There are three. One, they will, during this quarantine or lockdown, they will say the contagion will be cut 3 to 4 times. The new principle is 1 door, 1 test. So 1 household, 1 will be tested. 290 teams will work, 480 households will be covered. There are 73 local and 90 mobile points of test, and 338 PCR machines will work, and about daily 32,000 Mongolians people will be tested. Second, only 1 person from households will be allowed to go for food purchase and other things to the closest shop. But that person should have so-called health code. We before called it QR code, which is coming on your mobile phone. As you know, we have more mobile phone than the people, almost 2 everybody has. So there will be few emergency services. The principle is everybody stays home. The third difference is companies of few essential sectors will work as before: utilities, healthcare, gas stations, food shops, markets, post and media, etc. businesses will be working. But those people who are in isolation will be controlled. Their movement will be controlled by their phone, location set. Unlike before, now everybody who stranded somewhere else should go home before 11th, to which we have now another week. So this all together will make easier the life of the people who are doing public jobs during the epidemic time. Few words about vaccines. So far, what is clear is India had promised to give, principally to supply 4 million doses of vaccine to Mongolia, and 150 of them 100,000 of them is promised to be sent shortly. Indian vaccine is Covishield, that's the name, but this is AstraZeneca India produced version, which is not yet approved by WHO, because we have a law that vaccines to be approved by WHO. But however, because it's emergency cases, Mongolia is to take not only to accept not only the India one, the remaining will buy this 150,000 they will send as assistance, but the remaining we will buy. And we should ask also Russia and China with the vaccines they are already using for their own population. That's why we have a neighbors, right? So other things, political, economic drama in Mongolia. 4 things I would like to highlight. First, we have new prime minister, new cabinet. This is total 14 ministries as usual before, structure is the same. But there are 16 ministers, out of which 6 PMs, parliament members. By law, they cannot have it more, including the prime minister. 8 ministers out of the 16 are new ministers. 8 are the previous ministers. There will be 2 new ministries in Mongolia, according to the PM speech. That will be digital development, Minister of Digital Development, and Minister of Economic Development. Down the road it will be established, but for that they need to change the government law. New ministers are coming, working very dynamically, very enthusiastically, and I was told that the Prime Minister, it was on social media, that the Prime Minister was going to his work at 6:30, which is good for traffic jam as well. So there are other 3 things. First, banking law is changed in Mongolia and valid from the 1st of this year. That law changes one substantial thing. There will be a restriction of bank ownership by 20% per an owner. There are some 55 countries in the world which make the similar restrictions, and half of them are at the level of 20%. So those should happen by the end of June next year, which is very short period, one and a half a year, and by that time the 5 largest banks, which is almost 80% of the commercial banks' total asset, is to be already IPO companies. The remaining 7, within another year or so, year and a half, to be also public company, but it be closed or open. The second economic issue is about the huge division of, or protest by, I would say, businesses about the pension insurance increased by 2%, valid from the beginning of this year, which is increasing the cost of an employer. And plus people are not happy with extension or postponing the new law about pension. Pension is not to be insurance, it's to be more saving. That's the law comes for. And at the end of life of next generation in particular, who are paying for our generation pension, they should have not insurance, they should have a saving. At the end of life, or when they go to a pension, they should receive back every money they have paid, like many other smart and well-developed countries do. The third economic issue was a debate around OT project. Yesterday I had a public TV debate, DeFacto debate, about with 2 participants. One is the person, MP Gambatar, who was on hunger strike for 5 days. He said he is now his weight is 10 kilos less than before. But the opponent was a person who was working, Mr. Atokchulum, who was the board member of OT from Mongolian side, 2013, 2016. So these 2 gentlemen were discussing or debating about the merits of this project, and whole society is Muslim majority is supporting the Mr. Gambatar, PM Gambatar, motion that we should change this Dubai agreement. The other person said that we must change, some changes, we should do it, but we should not stop the project. And he highlighted the macroeconomics impact of the project. So nevertheless, the society is divided into two camps now, and Mongolia is now with in arbitration discussion or arbitration court in London about two tax cases. One is $130 million taxes, and the other is recently claimed $250 million tax issues with OT. So let's see what we will do, and the general conception is there are always debates about taxes, not only with foreign companies but with domestic companies inside of the country. This is a procedure issue and standards issue, etc. But I think this will not stop the normal process of this important project for Mongolian economy and for the shareholders of this company, public company, listed in Toronto, in New York. So hopefully we will go ahead, and the two stakeholders of the project, now three already, stakeholders will discuss normally at the table, and the issue will be solved soon. So these are four highlights about economic and political drama in the country. Thank you very much. See you next week.